what are the best exercises that you can do to live longer and feel better while living longer? In today's episode, I'm going to break down the 10 exercises I believe are the most powerful for longevity. These are based on science, functional strength, real-world results, and inspired by the work of Dr. Peter Attia and his book, Outlive, The Science and Art of Longevity. These movements aren't just about fitness, but they're about freedom. They're going to help you move well, recover better, maintain your independence, which is key, and extend your health span, not just your lifespan. All right, you guys, I'm excited to dive into the 10 best exercises for longevity. And this is really top of mind because both of my parents are into fitness. They're very into exercise, and I want them to be able to live as long as possible. And I have clients currently in my current 10-week transformation that are 74 years old. I have 69 years old. I have 66 years old. I have some in their lower 60s, a bunch in their 50s, and everybody wants to think about how not to just live longer, but how you can make sure you're living your best years in your later years. Like how you can be strong and independent and functional. Because look, if you get to the point when you're retired and you don't have to go to work every single day, but you can't actually do the things that you want to do, then you're not going to enjoy retirement near as much as you potentially could. And so Dr. Peter Attia in his book Outlives, and just generally in his work, talks a lot about the last decade of your life. Generally speaking, the last decade of so many people's lives is honestly miserable. They're in and out of hospitals. They're in and out of, care facilities. They are battling diseases. They're battling injuries. And it's like, that is not how you want to spend the last 10 years of your life. You don't want to be on your deathbed wishing you were dead. You want to be able to, up until as close to your last day as possible, do the things that you want to do and be able to be independent and be strong and everything like that. And so one of the things that Dr. Peter Attia really believes is that fitness is the single most powerful, quote, drug to increase your lifespan and your health span. And he actually has data to back this up. A couple of examples that he brings up in some of his work and in some of his videos is he says that smoking and diabetes both increase your risk of death by about 2 to 3 times. But if you have an elite VO2 max, that decreases your all-cause mortality by 5 times. So while these two things that are known to increase your death more than almost anything else, on the flip side of things, this one drug of improving your VO2 max, which is improving your elite level, your high-intensity cardiorespiratory fitness, that will decrease it by more than 2 times of the amount of increase of risk of death of smoking and diabetes, because it will decrease your all-cause mortality risk by 5 times, your all-cause mortality risk by 5 times. And he actually talks about how, this is the elite level VO2 max. It decreases your risk by 5 times. But he says really the biggest benefit and the biggest jump goes from if you're going from just not fit at all to just an average level of fitness, then there is a 3x risk reduction. So that's 3x of the 5x. And then the other thing that he talks about is strength and muscle mass are also huge when it comes to extending your health span and extending your lifespan. He says that improving your strength cuts your mortality risk by 3x. And he always talks about grip strength. And grip strength is important, but I really think that it's not necessarily per se grip strength. It's just a good proxy for overall strength. Because look, if somebody is doing resistance training and just generally strong, then their grip strength is going to be better than somebody who is not generally strong and not doing resistance training. So it's not like if you just train your grip strength and just holding on to things for a long time that you're going to decrease your all-cause mortality risk, in my opinion. That's just a proxy for being generally strong. So I think one of the things that is probably the thing that I want to get across most to everybody here listening to this, and a lot of you guys know this, but a lot of you might not, that when you get older, I really believe that strength is one of the first things that causes people to get injured. And when you get injured, that decreases your motivation to exercise. That decreases your motivation to eat healthy. That just decreases your overall motivation to do things. Injury, I think, is the gateway to dying too early. It is the gateway to a lack of motivation. And so we can largely decrease the risk of injury by making sure that we stay strong with our muscles and with our bones. And resistance training is absolutely critical for that. I think when we get older, we oftentimes are wary or we're too concerned with getting injured. When if you're doing resistance training properly, and you're starting where you can start and then slowly but surely scaling up from there, and you're using good form and good technique and everything like that, the risk of you getting hurt doing resistance training is so small, and it will decrease the risk of getting hurt outside of it. So that's just kind of the baseline for today. I'm getting ready to go into the 10 best exercises for longevity. But before I do, I want to let you know that the next Fat Loss Forever workshop is going to be Wednesday, August 13th at 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central Time. And this Fat Loss Forever workshop gives you a foundational level of education to learn how to eat, to fuel your body properly so that you can decrease your level of body fat. And even if your goal is not fat loss, then this would be a great educational workshop for you. So you can join today by going to nickcarrier.com/fatloss, and you can sign up completely for free. This is a Zoom recording that you can hop on with me and a bunch of other people where you can learn and feel more empowered and more confident than any time ever before with your nutrition education, so that you can make the choices that you want to make. So go to nickcarrier.com/fatloss and sign up for the Fat Loss Forever workshop today. All right, let's get into the 10 best exercises for longevity. Number 1, Zone 2 cardio training. Now, Zone 2 cardio training, I've had episodes about this in the past, so you can go back and listen to other episodes that I've done about Zone 2 cardio training. I'll probably even have a link in the description to past episodes that I've done, and then YouTube, maybe past videos that I've done. But Zone 2 cardio training is building your aerobic base. It's building your foundation of cardiorespiratory fitness. It's important for your mitochondrial health. Mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, and it allows you to build metabolic efficiency so that you can burn fat efficiently. When you're doing Zone 2 cardio training, your heart rate, this is roughly speaking, but your heart rate should be around 180 minus your age. So if you're 30 years old, your Zone 2 cardio training is going to be around 150 beats per minute. If you're 50 years old, your Zone 2 heart rate training is going to be about 130 beats per minute. And so you want to stay in that steady state for at least 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, progressively work up to there. And again, 3 times a week would be great. Now, if you can only do 1 or 2 times a week, start with 1 or 2 times a week. But if you can go 3 times a week for 30 to 60 minutes, that is a great level of foundational fitness for your cardiorespiratory system. So number 1 is Zone 2 cardio training. Number 2 is your VO2 max training. You get a huge return on investment for your longevity with your VO2 max. Like I've said earlier in the episode, Dr. Peter Attia, in studies and analyses that he has done, shows that if you have an elite level of VO2 max for your age group, you reduce your risk of all-cause mortality by 5x. That's huge. And so this is your high-intensity level of fitness. And all you have to do is do it 1 time a week. 1 time a week. It can be somewhere between 20 to 45 minutes. Now, Dr. Peter Attia always talks about this 4x4 protocol, basically picking a type of cardio training, whether that's biking, running, rowing, swimming, choosing one, and going as hard as you can for 4 minutes, and then resting for 4 minutes, and doing that 5 times. And all you can do is 1 time a week. So that's a total of 20 minutes of work. Now, it will take longer because of the rest time. So it'd be about 40 to 45 minutes if you include warm up and cool down. But this 4x4 protocol is great. But there's also other ways that you can improve your VO2 max as well by doing shorter sprints, HIIT training, just high effort sports, if you will. Sometimes high intensity, if you're doing pickleball and tennis, that can be high intensity enough to train your VO2 max. And same thing with the Zone 2. It doesn't have to be, your traditional treadmill, your traditional bike, your traditional swimming, or your traditional cardio respiratory fitness type modalities, if you will. You can get Zone 2 improvements from doing sports and from doing other types of HIIT training as well. But if you're just trying to strictly train Zone 2 or trying to strictly train VO2, then those are a couple of ways that you could go about doing that. So those are the first 2 exercises. The next 8 are going to be actually specific resistance training exercises. I think the first 2 is important to call out the importance of both sides of cardiorespiratory fitness. And now we're going to get into some really great stuff into some resistance training. And a lot of this stuff is based off of my experience with my clients, my knowledge of fitness, my knowledge of our physiology, and just awareness of how people, when they get older, what they tend to lose quickly and what tends to set people up for the risk of injury. And so that's kind of how I come up with these next 8. Exercise number 3 is step-ups. I really believe this is every single person who, I don't care what age you are, but especially over 50, especially over 60, you need to be doing at least 2 or 3 days a week of some sort of step-ups. Start body weight and then add load or add resistance as you can, whether that's with a weighted vest, whether that's holding dumbbells, holding a kettlebell, holding anything. Add some resistance as you work your way up, because this builds single leg strength, it builds single leg balance, it's very scalable, and it's very joint friendly. And just think about it. As you get older, you're going to want to step upstairs. You're going to want to go on hikes, and single leg balance and single leg stability is absolutely key for living the life that you want to live once you get older. So number 3 is step ups. Number 4 is deadlifts. This is a functional posterior chain, strength exercise, meaning you're training the back half of your body. You're training your glutes, your hamstring, your back muscles. It's great for core stability. It's great for improving your bone density. And it's just a real world movement, right? Like, you're going to pick up stuff as you get older, or you better be picking up stuff as you get older. Like, don't let the younger people in your life do everything for you. Let me say that again. Don't let the younger people in your life do everything for you, or else you are going to render yourself useless, and you are going to render yourself not strong to be able to do the things that you want to do. And the great thing about deadlifts is, again, it's very scalable. You can go very light weights. You don't have to use a barbell. You don't have to use a hex bar. You can go very light weights by your side and just pick them up, put them down, pick them up, put them down, and then just gradually work your way up in the amount of resistance that you're doing. So number 4 on my top 10 best exercises for longevity are deadlifts. Number 5 is going to be farmer's carry. Now, the first reason I put farmer's carry is because, again, grip strength is something that Dr. Peter Attia and so many people see in analyses as a very strong predictor of whether or not you're going to live longer. Now, but again, I don't think it's just per se how long can you hold something or how heavy can you hold something. That's just a proxy for just general strength. But at the same time, it's a very functional movement. You're going to carry your groceries. You're going to want to carry things around the house. You want to carry things to and from places. And so you want to be able to do that type of exercise, that it trains your core, it trains your posture, it trains your total body stability, it challenges a lot of different muscles in your body. So farmer's carries, where you're just holding weights and walking, and you can hold one in each hand. You can also just hold in one hand, and that challenges your core and stability even more. And you can switch sides. Farmer's carries are great and super functional. That's number 5. Number 6 is going to be pull-ups. We do pull-ups a lot in the 10-week transformation. We do most of these, or all of these exercises a lot in the 10-week transformation, because they're great exercises in general, not just for longevity, but pull-ups are great. It's a very foundational upper body pulling move. It helps improve your grip strength. It helps improve your overall body control. And again, you can progress, and it's very scalable. Most of my clients in the 10-week transformation are not able to do a bodyweight pull-up. That's completely fine. They use assistance using mini bands, and they go less assistance over time, and then they progress their way to bodyweight, and then some people are doing weighted pull-ups as well. So it's very scalable. Number 6 is pull-ups. Number 7 is dumbbell bench press. So we had our foundational pulling move with pull-ups. Now we have our foundational pushing move with dumbbell bench press. Now, I love push-ups, but I put dumbbell bench press in here because it's more scalable. You can actually go heavier. Because if you're somebody who does push-ups a lot and you're really good at doing push-ups, then you can only increase so much. Now, you can always put weight on your back, but I think dumbbell bench press is a super great upper body pushing move. It challenges all of your pushing muscles, your chest, your triceps, your shoulders, and it's very scalable and it's very safe with dumbbells. Number 8 is going to be lunges. Very similar to step-ups, lunges are so good for single leg strength / unilateral strength. It's the same thing. It's very good for dynamic balance when you're moving in space. And then it's really crucial for coordination and your stride control as well. So walking lunges is great. And again, it's scalable. You can start body weight. You can add as much load as you want to with weights or a weighted vest. So those are my first 8. Before I get into my last 2, I want to remind you that the Fat Loss Forever workshop is going to be on Wednesday, August 13th at 12 p.m. Central Time. I'm really excited to help you cut through the noise so that you can feel more empowered and more confident than ever when making your food choices. So join us today at nickcarrier.com/fatloss for the Fat Loss Forever workshop. nickcarrier.com/fatloss. Join that Zoom call on Wednesday, August 13th at 12 p.m. Central Time. Now, let's get into my last 2 exercises that are best for longevity. Number 9 is jump squats. Now, 9 and 10, this one point is really important to know. How oftentimes do older people get injured when going downstairs or going down a hill? A ton. That is, I don't have stats in front of me, but I would argue, and without even seeing stats, I would predict, my hypothesis would be, I've just said that 3 different ways, that the majority of injuries from elderly people come from some sort of inability to decelerate. Walking downstairs, walking down a hill, stepping off anything. A lot of times as we get older, we lose our ability to decelerate. We lose the eccentric strength. And so jump squats, it builds power and it builds our deceleration ability as well. It challenges our muscles to absorb force in the eccentric portion. And it really helps to activate fast twitch muscle fibers, which are the first things to go as we get older. And then finally, our 10th and final best exercise for longevity is single leg lateral hops. For agility, for stability, for lower leg strength, for fall prevention. It mimics real world movements a lot. I mean, how many times do you trip over something as you get older? I remember my grandmother, before she passed away, God bless her soul, she would trip over carpets all the time. She would trip over rugs all the time, small little rugs. And all of us are going to get to that point. At some point, we want to, push that off as far as possible. But if we can catch ourselves after we stumble, that will decrease the risk of injury. And I think injury is the thing that leads to the rapid decline of aging so regularly. So single leg lateral hops are so good. I hope you guys enjoyed these episodes. These 10 exercises are such a good blueprint for living longer and feeling better. And so anybody at any age can implement all of these exercises, and they're very useful. I would say if you are 40 and up, but especially 50, 60, 70, 80 and up, and you're listening to this, I would really encourage you to write these exercises down and find a way to implement them into your routine 1 to 4 times a week. Every single one of these exercises that I put in here is scalable, meaning it doesn't matter how fit or not fit you are right now, you can do these exercises. Maybe besides jump squats and single leg lateral hops, the jumping moves, you might need to scale those down a little bit before being able to do those. But everything else, everybody should be able to do with some capacity. And so look, I don't want you to get older, and I don't want you to get older. You will get older. I don't want when you get older for the last 10 years of your life to be miserable. I don't want you to set yourself up for injury. I don't want you to set yourself up so that the last 10 years you're in and out of care facilities and you're managing disease and you're having other people do everything for you because you are dependent on them. I want you to be strong. I want you to be independent. I want you to live your best years in your final years, because when you're retired, you worked your ass off all life long so that you can do the things that you want to do, and you can spend your time the way you want to spend it with whom you want to spend it. And in order to do that, you've got to have some level of strength. You've got to have some level of cardiorespiratory fitness. So dang it, let's go get it. Implement these 10 best exercises for longevity, and you'll continue to get closer to the healthiest version of yourself. And ultimately, you'll continue to get closer and closer to your best you.